Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Scout, joined by my co-host and fellow of predictable tastes, Jill, and today we will be discussing the novella Blackfoot's Reckoning, the manga Tigerstar and Sasha number 3, Return to the Clans, and the graphic novel A Shadow in RiverClan. Hi, my friend. I want to clarify, fellow of predictable tastes means we both have predictable tastes.
We do.
And I love us both for it.
I'm currently getting roasted in one of our group chats for having predictable tastes about an anime/manga character. So
sometimes we know what we like.
And what I like is a pretty man with dubious morals. You know?
Yeah.
I can't
I love that
myself.
for you. And I like a sopping wet meow meow that I hold in my hand. I feel like the podcast up to this point is a case study in this.
I really do think it's so true. Oh no, and it's only gonna get worse.
It is only gonna get worse. That's so true.
No.
Oh dear. I'm thinking about all of the stuff that we're going to get to, and we're on the cusp of the new prophecy now, and we're gonna go some places.
Hey, literally and figuratively.
Hey. Before we get into all of that and also our discussion today, how is the prey running?
Oh, the prey's running all right. We had kava bowls for dinner tonight.
Ooh.
I don't know if any of our listeners have heard of kava. It's like a Mediterranean build your own bowl sort of style restaurant. And so I got mine with spicy lamb meatballs and roasted white sweet potato. It was very good.
Oh, I love a white sweet potato.
I had not had them until kava got me into them, but very delicious, very good.
That sounds very tasty.
Yeah, it was good. How about you? What's cooking tonight?
Tonight, after recording, I'm supposed to make some salsa verde with some tomatillos to make some shredded beef enchiladas. Hopefully that will happen. I think I can whip it up pretty fast. It doesn't take that long to oven roast some tomatillos for a quick salsa verde.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think I mentioned last week trying to do meal planning for planning out the week. That's going strong. Second week, looking good on the menu. Generally been a little bit lower on cooking here this weekend than normal because my dearest father has a little head cold.
Aww.
So all of us have been just kind of laying low. Me to attempt to not get the cold by living.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I've had feel like it's been a long week this week for both me and Eric. We've kind of been taking it easy this weekend as well.
It's good to take it easy.
Spent quite a bit of time this weekend playing some more Baldur's Gate. Still playing Baldur's Gate.
Hell yeah. One of these days I'll get to play it.
It is almost half a year later, and I'm still deep in the trenches.
Let's go.
So,
I love a game like that.
Me too. It's been great. And most of my playtime with it right now is co-op play. So I've been having a really good fun time playing.
Yeah.
Basically getting to play D&D with my friends.
Hell yeah. And then it's also socializing.
And then watching a bunch of been getting my dear husband into a lot of video essays on YouTube.
Hell yeah, a classic. I have been recently watching a lot of Secret Sleepover Society, which is the streaming channel of Jacob and Julia from Drawfee.
Oh, okay.
They do game streaming, and they play a lot of small indie one stream puzzle games and observation games and stuff. And they're just a fun, gentle thing to watch.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
On the cat horizon.
The cat horizon.
The
event horizon.
The event horizon. Just again, they just keep doing it in Poland. I don't know how to tell you this, but the Blackfoot's Reckoning cover in Poland for the Polish edition is so good. It is this dynamic illustration of Blackfoot diving at Stonefur. There's like the bones on the ground and the cats in the background with their eyes glowing. The colors are so good. I just love it. I love it so much. There's a really good one for the simplified Chinese cover too. That's the same scene, but the thing I love about it is dark stripes in the background.
In the background going, He's such a little... He looks like such a little, like, snake.
He is a little snake.
And I believe we have a couple of corrections to make. Alert, we are human and make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. One of them I have an issue. What? Not an issue. Yes. I have a correction to issue. I have to issue a correction. Just last episode, I was talking about the man who does the audiobooks, who has done the audiobooks for the entire series. Last week, I pronounced his name MacLeod Andrews, and then immediately after recording, I was like, oh, his name is fucking MacLeod. It's MacLeod. It's MacLeod Andrews. It's pronounced MacLeod.
For shame.
My apologies to Mr. Andrews. So just wanted to get... I'm not going to get ahead of it because I'm going to have people for 2 weeks after the episode drops saying, isn't it MacLeod? But I wanted to have it on the airwaves. But while I'm back on the MacLeod Andrews train for a second, I wanted to mention that after our really good convo about animation in the last episode, I went and looked into that the fan animation project again for Into the Wild, and was reminded that they cast MacLeod Andrews as two cats, as Smudge, but also more notably to me as White Storm, and he's doing a Scottish brogue for White Storm in that. And it's so good. It's so good.
We did also forget to remind everyone that in our last episode, Scourge is the son of Jake, and therefore Firestar's half-brother.
Yeah, we had brother-on-brother violence.
Brother-on-brother violence. Brother killing brother.
Brother killing brother.
We love to see it.
In 4 trees, you know? It really
takes us back.
Takes me back to the olden days.
You know what? Weirdly enough, I think is appropriate for us to lead into the summary.
It is. Let's go into the summary. We got 3 pieces of literature to discuss today. In Blackfoot's Reckoning, we follow ShadowClan's deputy, Blackfoot, who struggles with doubt as he prepares to become a leader in the wake of Tigerstar's death at Scourge's Claws. His tumultuous path through life, serving as the right hand of 2 distinct tyrants, clouds his mind with fear that StarClan will reject his claim to leadership. Or worse, that he will fall short of the task, even with their support. As his 9 Lives ceremony begins, the spirits of his past warn him. To accept their gifts, he must first confront his choices, reliving memories he might rather forget. Blizzardwing, the father who never claimed him as kin, gives a life for acceptance. Ragged Star shares a life for trust, as they both mourn the faith they put in Broken Star. Badgerfang, his nephew, apprenticed too young and killed in his first battle, bestows a life for perspective. Greywing, our friend from long ago, gives a life for unity, urging us to remember that the clans need each other to survive. Rosetail, who died at his claws when ShadowClan attempted to steal ThunderClan kits, reluctantly grants a life for compassion. Blue Star gives a life for judgment, warning he use his wisely. Stonefur, whose murder is one of Blackfoot's greatest regrets, bestows a life for integrity. Nightstar, a leader who was never given a real chance to care for the clan he loved, grants a life for loyalty. Finally, Shadowstar, his clan's ancient leader, shares visions of possible futures, and bestows a life for leadership to help guide him through the rest of his 9 lives. Now, having faced his past and resolved to weather his future, StarClan hails him by his new name, Blackstar. In the final installment of Tigerstar and Sasha, we see Sasha has successfully returned to the woods outside ShadowClan's territory to give birth to 3 kits: Hawk, Moth, and Tadpole. At first, she fears Tigerstar will find her and lay claim to his children. When she learns of his death, she reflects on the mixture of relief and sadness in her heart. While she doesn't immediately tell the kits about their father, she does share happy memories of her housefolk with them. When winter gets hard, Tadpole leads his siblings on an adventure to Two Leg Place, trying to find their mother's old family. But the adventure turns dangerous when a sudden downpour traps the trio in a flooded basement. Tadpole ensures Hawk and Moth are rescued, but drowns in the process. The mourning trio returns again to the forest, where Sasha's old acquaintance Pine recommends they shelter on a farm near RiverClan territory. However, the barn cats are not as hospitable as Pine had claimed, and after an altercation, Sasha and her remaining children are on the move again. The mother decides now to seek a life with RiverClan. Cautiously, they are accepted. It is at this point she decides to tell her kits who their father was, but swears them to secrecy so as to avoid judgment from the clan cats. The family enjoys a few seasons together in RiverClan, but Sasha still lives in fear of what will happen if she's recognized by ShadowClan. Once her litter is apprenticed as Hawkpaw and Mothpaw, she is certain they will live a good life here by the river. Sasha realizes her best option is to once more strike out on her own. With a bittersweet goodbye, the family parts. In A Shadow in RiverClan, we follow Graystripe's daughter, Feathertail, as she and her brother Stormfur complete their warrior training in RiverClan. While Stormfur has readjusted well, Feathertail struggles to feel safe in RiverClan after what happened during TigerClan's reign. All around her, she sees the faces of cats who stood by while Tigerstar imprisoned and abused her and her fellow half-clan cats. She sees it especially when she looks at Leopardstar. At a gathering, Graystripe reminds her there is always a spot for her in ThunderClan. Feathertail considers, but doesn't want to leave Stormfur, who has fully accepted RiverClan as his home, despite their harrowing history. Feathertail does find a friend in Sasha for a time, when she and her kittens join RiverClan. But when Sasha divulges that Tigerstar fathered her kits, and that part of her still loves him, the feeling of betrayal drives Feathertail even further from the rest of her clanmates. She even becomes mistrustful of Mothpaw and Hawkpaw, especially Hawkpaw, who, as he grows, begins to look so much like his tyrannical father, especially when he fights. During a punishingly harsh leaf bear, a huge and hungry fox attacks RiverClan's camp directly, prompting Leopardstar to organize a small patrol to track the beast and drive it out of the territory. Feathertail, Stormfur, Hawkpaw, and Leopardstar herself pursue the fox into the winter snow. After a freezing trek, they manage to find its den, but are again attacked by the fox as Hawkpaw charges forward to investigate. The fight is not in the cat's favor. Leopardstar urges the others to flee, willing to sacrifice one of her 9 lives to keep them safe. This gesture surprises and moves Feathertail, snapping into focus that her leader does truly care for her and her brother, despite her past actions. With renewed vigor, she turns the tide of the battle, and the patrol manages to kill the fox, saving Leopardstar before she's felled. As they walk home, the tired leader whispers an apology for everything the siblings have been through. And this, finally, melts the icy wall that Feathertail had built around her heart. She returns to RiverClan with a renewed sense of community, ready to serve her clan with everything she has. And she might prove that sooner rather than later, as she receives a prophecy in her dreams. But we haven't quite reached that story yet.
Yeah.
We'll get there, don't worry about it.
We will get there, friends. Very, very soon. Sooner than you think.
Sooner than you might think. A new prophecy in my woods?
A new one? A new prophecy here?
Here?
Impossible.
In front of my salad?
Oh, man. So first of all, I, did my usual read all the books in one day thing, and I messaged Scout immediately after finishing Blackfoot's Reckoning, like, what the fuck, this is a banger.
It goes so hard. I loved Blackfoot's Reckoning. It was so good.
Yeah, it was such the whole novella is his 9 Lives ceremony.
Yeah.
Pretty much, except for, like, the one chapter where he and Running Nose head to the Moonstone. And that's it.
Yeah. Great little scene with him and Russet Fur when he tells her that he's going to choose her as the deputy.
For sure.
But yeah, most of the novella is just the 9 Lives ceremony, with every chapter being a life, and the life being accompanied by a memory that we are sort of pushed into. Man, it's so good. I want every 9 Lives ceremony to be like this.
Yeah, they really upped the standard here is the problem.
It really is. Because, they took the concept of the 9 Lives ceremony and just ramped it up to 11, and I was so here for it.
Yeah, just getting to see, and it was all of these different, like, little snippets of a cat's life, which, we've complained a lot about some of these single cat-centric books focusing too much on the, non-important aspects of their lives. And I think this just, did a great job of distilling who he is, why he was the way he was, and, all the things he did prior to this book. I think it was a really, it was just a fun look into a character that, was really kind of just on the sidelines and... Yeah, giving a different perspective on him. He
truly went from being very not on my radar, very much a cat that I did not really think about all that much, to being like, man, I kind of love this guy. This rules. And now I want to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
I think this is such a great example of how the concept that we see a lot in some of the super editions of small vignettes of sort of micro narratives within the macro narrative can work really effectively, but they have to be all driven by the same core principle and core story arc, I think the thing,
there needs to be a purpose.
Yeah, there has to be a purpose, and there has to be a way that it ties into the macro narrative. And this is a really, really good example of that. A little bit of a crossover with Aaron Corner, but this one was written by Clarissa Hutton, who we have seen a couple of times. She's done a few of the novellas so far, including Shadowstar's Life, Thunderstar's Echo, and Redtail's Debt. I'm so interested.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of really, really tight and very accurate to previous books, story work in here, matching scenes with things that have happened previously. I'm so interested in how much better this works and how much more effective this is compared to Redtail's debt, which we really struggled with. And which is like so far off the mark of the original events as to like deeply be detrimental to the novella itself. Blackfoot was written after Redtail's debt by a couple of years. Blackfoot's Reckoning is really recent. It's from 2021. So Clarissa, you've obviously like, you know, made some improvements, I think.
Yeah.
Since Redtail's debt, or maybe could be that she had like a little bit more support from the rest of the team in fact checking and stuff. I don't know, but it really like this was so good. This was just such a good novella. I
really don't feel like it is such a succinct book too that I don't feel like I have like a ton to really discuss, but that is in no way like a mark of like the quality. I think instead it is like, I think it was just done really well, and I don't think it is necessarily something that is needing a ton of analysis because the analysis is done in the text. It is about absolutely Blackfoot coming to terms with the horrible things he did and realizing like, oh, you know, he is claiming the whole time, he's like, I was just doing my job. I was just being a good deputy. Like, I didn't actually hate them. And then, you know, seeing these other cats and seeing the ones that he hurt and having to, like, reconcile the fact of, like, I can say that I was doing my job, but the whole time I had a choice. Which I think is done really well with the cats saying, do you accept this life?
Yeah, the way that they ask him to accept it every time is so good.
It is very much a sense of like, do you accept the fact that you have done this thing and you need to like learn from it and gain forgiveness for it and like work to kind of mitigate the harm that you've done.
Confronting your mistakes is hard to do.
It is. And I think this was a really good, like, narrative for it.
It was such a good narrative for it. Also, I was standing up in my chair, clapping and yelling, going, Grey Wing!
Oh, yeah.
Tall Shadow! I was like, my guys!
The fact that they show up, oh, man, that was so good.
It made me so excited. I also love this because Clarissa Hutton is also the Aaron who like first came into the team during Dawn of the Clans. So I love this being like, I'm putting my little Blorbos in here. These are my Blorbitos. They're coming back.
These are my best friends.
These are my best friends. Grey Wing is real and strong and my friend.
But yeah, this is definitely one of those that like very straightforward in plot, I guess, if we want to call it plot, but just an excellent read. I think definitely one of those that I would put on my list of like, you don't want to read 150 books about cats? Okay, here's a couple that you should just pick up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I do find it funny that I have 2 novellas on there. I just think that's a very interesting.
There's good. They make good. Sometimes they make good novellas in this series.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Tigerstar and Sasha?
Yeah, we can talk about Tigerstar and Sasha.
We're not going to talk very long about Tigerstar and Sasha, I have a feeling.
I just have so little to say about this book. I have so little to say.
Like, I understand why we put it here, because, you know, timeline-wise, this is where it belongs. But it feels like such a nothing book.
I guess stuff happens, but I was really trying to think on this. And that, like, I felt with this one, it was like everything was happening at such a pace. Like, this is only like 84 pages of graphic novel or something.
Right.
And there was like not really any time to sit with the emotional beats that were happening. And I think for the entire Tigerstar and Sasha trilogy, that is something that is to its detriment, that we don't really have enough time to sit. There's not like even enough panels to like give you some breathing space. You know, panel work in comics is really...
It's important.
Yeah.
I can go off about this. I took a whole class on comics in college, and one of the things we talked about is like the importance of how you lay out your paneling and just giving like how the panels themselves are a type of narrative. And I feel like this particular manga especially just does not play with it as much as it doesn't use the medium as much as it could.
No, there's a lot of 3/4 chest up cats.
Yes.
Speaking, and not a lot else sort of going on. I think the russet fur scene was a highlight for me, but it was so short. Like I really liked the concept of russet fur coming in here and sort of covering for Sasha as Sasha worries about discovery by Shadow Clan, and then sort of coming to her later and being like, so are they Tigerstars? And them having that moment of vulnerability. But there just wasn't enough of like anything.
Yeah, it feels like they were just kind of rushing to try and get to the point of like, all right, we got to make sure that we explain why Hawk and Moth go to RiverClan, so we've got to rush through all of this stuff.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was trying to get to a specific point in some places. Why? I know that it is a story, but there's something about being on the stepping stones to go into RiverClan territory and being like, hey, kids, just going to take you to a little side here. Your dad is a cat fascist, and I need you to never tell anybody that. Okay, bye, let's go. Like,
cool.
Why is that the point at which she decides to tell them?
Yeah, it's the whole, like, we can't talk about your father. To me, like, at the very least, it makes sense because she wants them to be safe and she doesn't want them to, you know, have the Bramblepaw and Tawnypaw complex.
Absolutely. But at that point, why tell them at all then?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. And, like, she tells them because, I believe she tells them because once we get to the new prophecy, they know.
Yes. I think that's probably the reason.
And that's probably the reason that she tells them in these books. But it was just like the particular placement of it, I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
Going backwards a little bit, though, do you want to talk about Tadpole's scene?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that was one of the better scenes, even though we didn't get a lot of opportunity to kind of sink in with it. Just because I think that is probably, like, as we've talked about, the art style in this book is not really for me. It is not particularly one that I enjoy, but I think that is the one scene where the strongest, like, art was.
Yes.
In terms of, like, using the panels or lack thereof where Tadpole is drowning at the very bottom of the page.
Yeah.
And he's not in a panel. He is just outside of the page. He is being brought out of the narrative. So I do think that is, like, one very strong point where they actually, you know, use the medium.
Yes.
For the storytelling. And, you know, I'm a softie for a black cat. I just am like, oh, this is a poor little black baby.
Just a baby.
And then, you know, the one panel with all of this darkness with just, like, the ripples from where he sunk up under. I think those were some really, like, well done panels. And then the rest of it, I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, there's so much just what that was. I do agree that was probably, it was the emotional core of the book, probably the emotional core of the whole trilogy. Like the thing that worked the best, or was like doing the thing that it was trying to do the most effectively.
Yeah.
Everything else, even like the scene with Sasha and the barn cat. And just like,
that was a nothing scene to me. It
was just the way that, like, the thing she says is, you don't know anything about being a mother. It's so just like snooze. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it is very much like, okay, like very cliche, I think.
I think it's also the last time we talked about Tigerstar and Sasha, I talked a little bit about the Western comic industry. All over the world, trouble in literature. There's women problems.
Yes.
And I feel like that even that right there is like, make it a mother thing. We're just gonna make it a mother thing real quick, and okay, that's good.
Yeah. I do think this was the most complex version of Sasha, but she is still so flat as a character.
Yeah, like that's not getting her much further. Yeah.
It is literally just like, yeah, she we get a little bit more depth because she's got this conflict of being in love with someone who she's definitely built an idealized version of, or like he was not abusive to her, but he is a bad person, and she's trying to like struggle with figuring out like how to resolve those feelings, but I don't really think she does.
No.
Like that is the closest we get to any sort of complexity with her. And it's so frustrating because it's like, that could be a really interesting thing to explore, but because she's rightfully not going to talk about it with anyone, like...
Yeah, there's so much...
And the one person she does talk about it with in the other book is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How could you say that to me? You know what he did.
Which is also
so valid.
Very valid, yeah. That's why, like, sort of, like, transferring, you know, or transitioning into Shadow and RiverClan. Like, I just felt like so much of Shadow and RiverClan was doing what Tigerstar and Sasha 3 was doing, but way better.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one.
Me too.
Even from just a technical standpoint, I think the coloring is really well done.
Coloring's great.
The sunsets in this book are absolutely gorgeous. Like, I could not stop looking at the way the sky is rendered. And it's, you know, fairly simple gradients, but it makes it feel so much... Like, it really gives the sense of time, and it makes the whole thing seem a lot more alive.
Yeah, I mean, talking about good panel work, there is a specific page in Shadow and RiverClan that is Feathertail sitting in a tree across 3 panels, and in each one, the tree is like indicating a different season. You know, it has blooms on it, it has fall leaves, you know, falling, it is leafless branches in winter, and that is such a succinct and good just set of panels, like really like to me that's like a masterclass on, you know, and maybe it's very like it's not unusual to do the whole like, oh, it's a tree to show time passing thing, but it's really well executed there and really works in the genre and really just like made my brain go burr. I was really excited to see that.
No, I agree 100%. And I pulled that up, and it's not even just her sitting in the tree. It's her literally jumping from one side of the tree onto the limb to the other side of the tree. So I think it really is
to
like...
show the transition of time, yeah.
It is really a nice little... And it's simple, but it works. And like that's one of the things that is good about graphic novels is you can use that simplicity to like make a statement with time moving, whereas in, you know, the written work, you either have to kind of literally talk about like what's been going on or just say 3 months have passed, which is never satisfying.
Right.
But in a graphic novel, at least seeing that feels more satisfying. Feathertail, my beloved.
Feathertail!
God, I love her so much. She's the sequel to Silverstream in my books. I always... Like, the love I have for Silverstream has always just been immediately transferred to Feathertail. I'm really excited to revisit her as a character. It's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
Since I've been with her. And so I'm very interested to, like, see if my feelings towards her have changed at all. Or if I'm still just like, that's my little girl.
That's my little girl. The way you described the love being transferred, this is so specific, but there's a game that's like in the streaming circles right now called King of the Castle, and one of the things that happens in King of the Castle is that like it has, this is so in the weeds, it has Twitch integration so that Twitch chats can play, but then also your character in the game might die. So what happens when that happens is a little pop-up pops up that's like, you know, Baron Pogchamp has died. Baron Pogchamp 2 has inherited all of the assets of Baron Pogchamp. You know?
Right.
I really liked seeing this particular side of Feathertail. It felt like a different take than what we will see as we get more of her come the new prophecy.
I like it when a girl can be angry.
Yeah, I really, really liked her emotional arc here. It all felt very justified and very, like, believable within the character space.
Yeah, and I think it was very well, like, it was well shown, because it's not just it is not a linear progression of I don't trust these people to I trust these people. It's I don't trust these people. Okay, well, maybe I can trust her. Nope, I don't trust her anymore, and now I'm not going to trust anybody again. Like, she has setbacks, and there is, like, the conflict is, for the most part, in her emotional journey rather than an external conflict, which I just love.
Yeah.
Really nice to see their sibling relationship.
Yes.
I care about them a lot.
I care them.
I did message Scout this for our anime fans. I did say that Stone Fur is like the Maze Hughes.
Oh my god.
Warriors,
why? In everything that we read today, I think, we saw his death again.
Yeah, his death is constantly brought back up. And it's like, yes, we know. We were there. We've all seen it. We've seen it twice before today, and then we see it again twice or 3 times today. I just thought that was hilarious. Like, I feel bad for him because I did love that man, but like, it does just keep happening.
It just keeps happening. Oh, it was really funny. You want to talk a little bit about Hawkpaw Mothpaw?
I want to talk just a little. You can't let me talk too long because I have a lot of very complicated feelings about Hawkpaw and Mothpaw, but it's all much later in the narrative.
It's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like it's not even New Prophecy necessarily. It's like after that, isn't it?
There's a lot of stuff with Mothwing as we get deeper into the series. There's less, but still, yes, some stuff with Hawkfrost.
Yeah. So I have a lot of complicated feelings on them. Keep an eye out on them. I am interested to see, because, you know, I've done some looking when I've just been trying to research for episodes. Like, I have seen some things. I don't know how I'm going to feel about Mothwing as we continue. I have a lot of complicated feelings about her. But none of them are relevant to what we are talking about today. What is relevant to what we are talking about today is something that you did mention, which is Hawkpaw and his proclivities.
Yeah.
And I know nature versus nurture is like a huge thing in these books. Like, there's a lot of stuff about like being exactly like your father, and like I don't feel like the Aarons really ever have a succinct through line of like, you don't have to end up like your parents, or it doesn't matter, you're gonna end up like them, you know?
Yeah,
because I feel like they go back and forth on it a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like Hawkpaw literally is, and you know, we don't really get into a ton of his training with Leopardstar, but from what we see from Feathertail's point of view, there's nothing like that raises enough concern for her to like make her think that, oh, Leopardstar is like teaching him how to be like vicious until the fox attack. Yeah. Where she's like, wow, you did such a great job. I'm going to bring you with me to go attack this fox. And Feathertail's like, isn't he a little young for that? She's like, he's fine. He blinded it the last time. But the way Hawkpaw is portrayed just does give very, very Tigerstar vibes. Like he does act a lot like his father did when he was a young one. Yeah. And he shouldn't. Like, he doesn't have any reason at this point, in my opinion, to have that complex. Yeah. So that's all I can say right now about Hawkpaw.
Yeah, I have other thoughts that also I cannot say anymore yet.
Yeah, just keep an eye on him.
Keep an eye on them. I'm sure it'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
Do you have anything else you would like to say about this particular book?
My one other note that I have here, I think, can also be circled into the Aaron corner. So I'll say it in the Aaron corner, and we can sort of transition officially into the Aaron corner unless there's anything else you'd like to touch on.
I don't think so. I do feel bad that we don't have much to say about these books, but I think it was just a very, like I mentioned in our DMs, I think it was a very succinct section of time that we focus on here. And I think that was kind of nice to just focus on, it was like the span of a couple months.
It was really nice how all of them flowed right into each other. It really is a really tight look at this particular space. I guess one thing that I thought was like an interesting and nice little like continuity, considering that this was written and published a lot later than Firestar's quest, is that they do sort of have a little hint of that Firestar's quest is happening.
They do.
Because there's one or two moments where we notice that Graystripe is sort of leading ThunderClan and at gatherings, and Firestar isn't there. And Graystripe sort of alludes, "Oh, he's been really sick. He got over green cough, but he's just really been it's been
he's
hanging
still
with
recovering.
him. He's still recovering." And
that's so real of you, Firestar.
It's so
if it were real of you.
If you were real Firestar, you'd be so real. But that's like a little teaser for Firestar's quest that we will be reading next episode. I want to say next episode.
Yeah, next episode is Firestar's quest. I'm very excited for that.
Wow. So I liked that. It was just like DiCaprio pointing, "Hey, I know what's going on."
It was a very nice little nod.
I loved the scenes with Graystripe and Feathertail.
Oh, it was so nice. He's constantly like, you could come back to ThunderClan if you really want. She's like, "I know, Dad, but I'll be okay over here." And he's like, "Just know that I'm really proud of you." And I'm like, "Graystripe, I love you so much."
He's such a dad. He love him and kids.
Let's go on into the Aaron Corner.
Here we go. All right. The thing that I was going to say that ties into the Aaron Corner is we had Tigerstar and Sasha was June 2009. Shadow and RiverClan was June 2020. So it was almost exactly 11 years apart. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting to see Dan Jolly, who wrote both of them, sort of take a crack at this same space of time in the canon, and like the Sasha story a whole decade apart. Like, it's really interesting to see the ways that I think his writing has changed, improved a lot compared to what we saw with Tigerstar and Sasha. We didn't get like a ton of Sasha in Shadow and RiverClan, but the Sasha that we did get, I felt like was, again,
I liked her a lot more.
Yeah, a better look at the character. Also better like Leopard Star work in Shadow and RiverClan compared to the Leopard Star in Tigerstar and Sasha was so like nothing. Was so like not Leopard Star. It was so weird. But yeah, I liked reading these two back to back and seeing sort of a redux on a lot of the concepts and story beats that we saw in Tigerstar and Sasha getting reworked again in Shadow and RiverClan. For Blackfoot's Reckoning, this is another one that was decided by committee, or decided by fans, similar to Leopard Star's Honor. This novella was a choice. The fans had a choice between featuring Black Star, Cinderpelt, Gorse Star, who is our best boy Gorse from the...
shout out to my boy.
Shout out to our boy from Dawn of the Clans, and Needletail, who we won't meet for quite a while. But Black Star was the winner, so shout out. Whereas last time I said it felt like they made the poll and then it didn't, like they didn't really have an idea. I don't know if they had an idea, but if they didn't have an idea before they did the poll, they certainly got a good idea afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
I just liked this little note that according to Kate Carey, it's possible that Black Star is a descendant of Mothflight and Micah's son, Spiderpaw. I think that she said this specifically because they're both polydactyl. I didn't know before this, but apparently Black Star is polydactyl on at least one foot. That's one of the reasons they talk about his huge black paws.
Oh, so it's not a thunder thing.
It's not a thunder thing. It's that he got more toes. But I like all of the little sort of connections to the Dawn of the Clans era with this Black Star stuff. Speaking of Black Star, personal scout moment. Listeners, any of you have this also. Being an animal kid, I've spent years trying to reconcile Black Star's coat pattern with like actual real world cats, because there's no, they don't make them like that. They don't make white cats with black feet. Today, I even went on the devil's search engine, google.com, and I looked for, tried to Google white cat with black feet, and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah. What seems to be more common is like a white cat with a black tail.
Yes, white cat with black tail makes more sense. It seems there's something about coat patterns where I think that this might just be something that like I saw in a Tumblr post and have internalized, but I think there's something about like the patterns work from the saddle down. They work from like the top down on the cats. So in the jeans, it's like rarer for there to be color on the feet instead of it being like a darker cat with white on the feet.
Interesting.
But the closest I can get is that I think he's a chocolate point Siamese. And they just, that's my headcanon for him, is that he's a chocolate point Siamese cat. He's big.
I love that for him.
And I think that after he becomes a leader, he gets a little white star on his head. Okay, thank you.
I love when people do that in art, is like giving them a little star on their head. I know it doesn't make sense, and I know it isn't true, but
we got ghosts in here. We can decide that they get new markings.
Okay, why does this actually have a cat with black feet?
Oh.
The Chinese cat garden.
Oh.
I think it's very rare. A solid white cat with 4 black feet is called Night Fighting Snow.
Whoa.
These are early Chinese cat patterns.
Oh, that would make sense for a Siamese ancestry then.
Yeah, it would.
Because Siamese are also from that area of the world. I'm always thinking about cat patterns. I'm always thinking about cat colors. I'm thinking about them all the time.
So yeah, it is a pattern of garden cat, which is the apparently early Chinese name for a random bred house cat or non-breed cat.
Oh, I love that. Shout out.
Shout out to these cats and their cool ass names.
Yeah, the names are so good.
The pure yellow is called the Golden Tiger, the Golden Bell, the Big Drop of Gold. I love that. I love an orange
big drop
boy.
of gold. Oh.
Anyway, sorry for this distraction, but we learned something about cats.
We did learn something about cats. Thank you for the research, the extra research. In other news that is very specific to Scout Artist Corner, I really liked the detail that James L. Barry, the illustrator for Shadow and RiverClan, who we've seen in the past, gave Feathertail Graystripe's little spiky hair to echo him in the graphic novel designs. It's a really nice touch. James L. Barry does a lot of really nice touches like that with the character designs. You know, they're cats. So in a lot of instances, there's not all that much variance, but just that little, like, that Graystripe has a little spiky hairdo and his daughter inherited that spiky hairdo was one of my favorite things.
Well, and Stormfur has like the little
and Stormfur's got like the little beard, the cheeks.
He's got the
sideburns.
Yeah, the male cats. A male cat, if they don't get neutered, they get like the big chubby faces, and so he's got his dad's big chubby face, and I think it's really cute.
I liked that a lot. Also, just one more thing for Aaron Corner is fans doing the Lord's work. Somebody DM'd James L. Barry on Instagram to ask him to confirm who the mean brown tabby is in Shadow and RiverClan, because nobody ever says his name in the book. I was also wondering this. I love that just some rando was like, I'm going in James L. Barry's DMs. It's Heavy Step.
Very nice.
Confirmed, it's Heavy Step. That's it for the Aaron Corner.
I love that. So I don't have a ton to share for Sharing Tongues, because, you know, this is a lot of smaller little snippets. I did check on AO3. A lot of folks shipping Sasha with other female characters. We love to see it. 5 Feathertail / Sasha fics. 6 for Leopard Fur and Sasha, and 2 for Sasha and Russet Fur.
Yeah.
The manga, or the graphic novel, because they're different. The Shadow in RiverClan graphic novel has 8 fics. Most of them are like missing scenes of characters having conversations, or like some Stormfur scenes, kind of poking into his mental state at the time. I feel like I mentioned this last time. There are 210 fics for Black Star.
Let's go.
But he does have a lot more roles to play in our story. There are 11 fics for Blackfoot, or for Blackstar and Russet Fur as a ship.
I like that.
8 of them are all by one person.
Let's go.
Go off. Shoutouts to KDK101. I'm gonna read your series here.
We love it when we find a niche and we stick in it.
Well, and they're all a series too.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that.
They've written
great.
about 8,000 words over these different fics for Blackfoot and Russet Fur.
We love to represent a rare pair. Let's go.
We do. Speaking of, we just have one fic for the Blackfoot's Reckoning short story. It is a very short little drabble about Hollyflower making the decision to raise her kits on her own. Tumblr has designs again. Somebody said Blackstar design. He is totally Russian. I can't see him anything otherwise.
Blackstar with a Russian accent is so funny.
Yeah. Let's see. Then there's one of him with some very good eyebrows. Very cool normal guy.
Yeah, I love these eyebrows. Very cool normal guy who's committed to totally normal amount of war crimes.
I just think there's a lot of really fun Blackfoot designs. And then I really just wanted to add this running nose one because I think the way he's so drawn sneezing is so funny. They've got like the fur spiking out to show the action lines.
Little snot bubbles.
And he's got so much snot on his nose.
Oh,
poor baby boy.
Man.
He looks so pathetic and I love him.
I love running nose. My guy, I want to clear up your sinus infection.
A few people, of course, I can't go onto fandom spaces on the internet without some people showing a distinct lack of like reading comprehension. So, you know, take with that what thou wilt. Some people were like, I don't like Blackfoot's Reckoning. I don't like that this guy was like, well, I didn't want to commit those war crimes. I was just doing what I was told to do. And I'm like, okay, but also this is from his point of view. So, like, of course he's going to try and justify it to himself. Like,
yeah, that's
you
how
gotta think
thinking
about,
works.
Yeah, you got to think about point of view and narrative. I could go into a big, long tirade, but I feel like we've done that before about, you know, the tendency to shave off any sort of complex character motivations in favor of telling a moral story. And I just don't think that's what necessarily needs to be happening here.
Yeah.
Somebody also just took a panel from Shadow in RiverClan of Silverstream catching a fish where it says thwack.
Thwack. I loved that. I loved that one.
And it just says Thwack Thursday.
Thwack Thursday.
Unfortunately, I could not keep scrolling down Tumblr because apparently some combination of the words a shadow in RiverClan means something for a Starless clan, which is a much later arc.
Oh.
So I had to stop scrolling because it was 90% spoilers. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening here, and I don't want to.
The spoiler zone. I just messaged you some incredible. This is not necessarily related to what we read today, but there's some fucking amazing cats, warrior cats as bikers.
That's so cool.
This shit owns. This shit rocks.
I love this. Wow.
Look at that Tigerstar in that last one. Look at how
that's
fucking
kinda
cool
dope.
he is. He kind of rules.
Yeah. Wow.
These are so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to follow this artist. The artist for these super cool biker cats is Forvranged, but we're gonna spell it for you. It is FOERVRAENGD. Just some incredible Warrior Cats biker AU stuff. That's so fun.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with them.
I am gonna have to start checking the Warriors website because I did find they have like a little gallery of our favorite Sasha artwork. And there's one with like a really intimidating Tigerstar. A lot of just lovely, like, I've always seen Sasha as a Siamese.
Yeah. She is canonically a Siamese.
Yeah,
too.
she is. She just is not always drawn that way.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of really lovely, like, art of her.
I mean, she has very, like, pale face markings in the official artwork. Doesn't have, like, deep point markings. But yeah, I love Sasha.
I like this one of her like laying in a circle with the flowers. I think it's really pretty. Well, that's about all I've got for sharing tongues.
All right, let's move on to Warrior Cat of the Week. My Warrior Cat of the Week this time is Blackfoot / Blackstar.
Very nice.
I really liked seeing this different side of him. I liked seeing his interiority and the ways in which they gave him very complex emotions about everything that he has done. I think we are seeing a more nuanced version of Blackstar here than we will end up seeing in some of our future readings. Probably anything else.
Yeah, I think this is the most nuanced we get him, which, you know, it is a book that is focused on him, and he is definitely a character whose point of view we do not get later on.
Yeah, but it is... I really enjoyed our time with him here, and he really stood out to me.
Yeah.
What about you? Who is your Warrior Cat of the Week?
I picked 2 because we had, 3 different books, and I figured I was justified in that.
Totally.
Badgerfang and Feathertail.
Badgerfang, I almost picked. I love that little guy.
I just love Badgerfang. I just think his story is so tragic, but I love him so much. And I just really like that he was one of the ones to give Blackstar a life. And it was, sad, but nice to see him again.
Yeah, I really... One thing that I didn't mention yet that I really enjoyed was the added touch of both Flintfang, who was Badgerfang's mentor, and Blackfoot were both Badgerfang's uncles.
Yeah.
So having that kin connection, I thought was a really nice bonus touch.
I agree.
And Feathertail, of course, is Feathertail. We love
Yeah, Feathertail. I mean, I don't really have much to say about Feathertail other than, I just really liked seeing her perspective. I thought it was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were to choose one for Shadow and RiverClan, it would be between Feathertail and Leopardstar, actually. I really was interested in seeing this different kind of take on Leopardstar and Shadow and RiverClan. Yeah,
I think it was a really, really good one. Better than Leopardstar's Honor, if you ask me.
It was much better than I think this was definitely a better look at Leopardstar than in Leopardstar's Honor. Leopardstar's Honor was fine. It was fine. So defeated.
Well, that's about all we've got for you today.
All right, let me take us out.
Oh God,
dear listeners.
Sorry,
what's happening?
I just sent Scout a tweet.
It's so real. This tweet's so real.
Yeah, there is somebody who did.
They kind of taper off after this one.
Yeah, so I did send Scout a tweet. This has nothing to do with these books, but it has everything to do with a very significant issue that I have constantly brought up. Somebody tweeted out, okay, but we can all admit that the lack of childbirth depictions in books is weird, right? And then somebody quote retweeted with "not warrior cats with its very graphic cat birth scenes, salute emoji," and I'm like,
the salute emoji.
I ghost wrote this. This is a kindred spirit to me.
Do you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us? Not about birth scenes, probably, just for Jill's sake. But if it's anything else, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Twitter and Blue Sky at Paws and Claws, and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come and join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, or Blue Sky at HumbleGoat, and you can see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
And you can find me on Twitter at plot_twists, on Blue Sky at plot-twists, or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss the graphic novel A Thief in ThunderClan, as well as the first published Super Edition, Firestar's Quest, Read along by buying the books from a local bookstore or checking them out from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.